So by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Cunha might just be a far better option as a centre forward compared with both Højlund and Xerxes, with Amorim's ball progression strategy from build-up being completely dependent on the centre forward's effectiveness in this one specific area, whilst I also show you visual examples of why I think not just one of the wing-backs, but both wing-backs in the system need to have the offensive instincts and output in the final third of natural wide attackers, and how using natural fullbacks in those wing-back roles hampers United's ability to create high-value chances. But let's get straight into the analysis. So in this clip you can see Euro has possession on the edge of the United box, with the back five in their familiar shape, with the wing-backs sitting deep on the flanks in order to open up simple passing lanes for the wide centre-backs. De Ligt is his central centre-back, and you can see that he's actually holding a slightly higher position than the two wide centre-backs Euro and Shaw either side, positioned almost like a deeper lying midfielder, which I think is something that Amorim should be exploring more, potentially in the future looking to convert a central midfielder into a central centre-back in order to raise the individual technical ability of players in that deeper area in order to improve United's ability to play out through the centre of pressure. Everton in this phase of play are essentially defending in a back five defensive shape, with Ghana following Mbeumo's movement dropping into a deeper position, with the remaining three in the midfield and the two in the front line sitting compact and narrow, cutting off passing lanes, intentionally forcing United out wide. And this is a pressing tactic that has become common for opposition sides to use against United, and the logic behind it is pretty understandable. By funneling the play to the wing-backs, the opposition's midfield can then look to squeeze over and look to box the United wing-back in close to the touchline, where passing options are naturally limited, obviously only being able to pass infield rather than outside, making it easier for the opposition to cut off passing lanes and stop progression of the ball forward. However, Ruben Amorim seems to actually prefer his sides to build out through wider areas, and in a moment I'm going to explain exactly why this is the case, analysing two textbook examples of how Amorim wants his side to progress the ball in the build-up phase, allowing you to see why the centre forward is so integral to this strategy. But before I get into that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, including the new season Manchester United releases for the upcoming season. They sent me over the new Manchester United home shirt with Bruno Fernandes on the back, alongside this 06-07 Manchester United white away shirt with Ronaldo number 7 on the back, as well as this Zinedine Zidane Juventus shirt from the 1990s as well. If you use code ATLANTIS at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount, so I'll leave a link in the description and in the comment section below. So Everton's temporary 5-3-2 defensive shape now temporarily shifts to a 4-4-2 as Euro plays a pass up the line into Ahmad and Mykolenko pushes up the left flank in order to apply pressure, and this enticing of the left back high up the pitch will become significant later on in the move. When the pass goes back to Euro, this is where Amorim's more methodical, shorter passing patterns of play transitions to a more direct method of ball progression, with Lenny Euro bypassing the midfield lines with a long pass down the line into Mbeumo, who receives the ball under pressure with his back to goal, and this is where we're now able to see Ruben Amorim's build-up strategy in full effect. So as Mbeumo controls the long pass, you can see how narrow United's front three is, but also how they're able to work in tandem in order to create and then exploit space. Mbeumo takes the ball in field, which works to drag James Garner, who was effectively operating as a temporary left-sided centre-back, covering the space on that left side that Mykolenko had vacated, into a high and narrow position. Cunha then takes this as a signal to make a run back across Mbeumo into that space that's been created, now picking up a high and wide position on the right side, which drags the centre-back Michael Keane deeper and subsequently opens up more space for Bruno Fernandes in the centre, who is now a free man, with Tarkowski having held a deeper position in the back line initially after Michael Keane had pushed up onto Cunha. However, this is where we see the importance of wing-backs in the artificial counter-attack, as on the right side Ahmad has already enticed Mykolenko high and Ghana has followed Mbeumo's movement in field, which opens up the space on the left side of Everton's back line for Ahmad to make a third man bursting run into from deep, looking to run off of the back of Mykolenko. This is a textbook example of what I mean when I refer to coordinated patterns of play and movement. Every element of this pattern of play is designed specifically to manipulate the position of the opposition's players, thereby allowing you to open up space in certain areas of the opposition's defensive shape, which you can then exploit via fairly simple passing sequences and each player understanding where they should move in accordance with the movement of their teammates around them, creating an automated pattern of play that with sufficient training and practice should almost become second nature to the players. But this pattern of play also shows why Amad is perfect for the right wing-back role, but also why I think the left wing-back also needs to be a winger rather than a natural fullback, as when Mbeumo is about to play the pass into Bruno, on the far side I think Dalot needs to be 5 yards higher and probably 5 yards further in field, but being a natural fullback, he doesn't have the offensive instincts that a natural attacking player like Amad on the right side would have in that position, and you'll see the full effect of this later on in the move. Bruno receives a ball and he gets it out of his feet, with both Cunha and Amad making runs down the right side. Now if I'm being hypercritical, I think Cunha should maybe be aware of Amad's run on his outside, and so rather than making a run down the outside of Michael Keane, he'd be better off making a curved run on his inside, as this would firstly open up a passing lane for Bruno to release him into a more central position, but it would also drag Keane in field, stretching the space between him and Mykolenko on his outside, creating a bigger gap for Bruno to thread the pass through. But despite Cunha also making a run down the outside, Bruno's able to thread the pass through the eye of a needle, and because Mykolenko misses the sliding interception, now the centre-back is 2v1 against Amad and Cunha. But if you look on the far left side, this is where the lack of offensive instincts from fullbacks playing as wingbacks can be seen, as United have absolutely no one else in the centre, with Mbeumo having dropped deep to connect the attack, and Bruno being the one who played the through ball, and so it has to be the wingback on the far side that's going to be providing the option in the box, with United essentially shifting temporarily to a wide front three, with Cunha central and both wingbacks high and wide like natural wingers. But from this position, Cunha makes a right run, and Amad releases him with the right weight and timing. But now in the centre you can see the importance of both wingbacks having the natural offensive instincts of attackers, as Dalot should have been 5 to 10 yards higher and narrower throughout the move, ready to break off the back of the right back as Cunha is released in behind by Amad, then able to either make a checked run towards a penalty spot awaiting a cutback, or ideally darting between the Everton right back and centre back towards a 6-yard box, looking to receive an extremely high value chance in the form of a tap-in via a pass across goal from Cunha. However, without this option, Cunha's forced into a rush shot across goal without being properly set, and the ball rolls across goal with no one there to tap it in. However, just over 10 minutes later, we see United use an almost identical pattern of play to once again release Amad down the right side, which eventually leads to the penalty. Once again, Everton's narrow midfield cut off the passing lane centrally, Euro goes down the line to Amad, Mykolenko pushes up to apply the pressure, but a key detail that many people will have missed, but is crucial to this goal and shows Amad's intelligence, is how Amad alters his movement in order to adjust the angle at which he's receiving the ball. See, as the ball is moving towards him, you can see that Amad takes a quick glance over his right shoulder, already having the coordinated pattern of play in mind, but then he also arcs his run slightly, moving out a yard or so wider, which then enables him to play the pass first time, as now rather than receiving the ball with his back to goal, under immediate pressure from behind and having to take a touch, he's now receiving the ball at a slight angle which allows him to play a direct first time curling pass into Cunha in the centre before Mykolenko can even get within a few yards of him. But this is where we see the difference between Cunha at centre forward in comparison to Højlund. The ball control and technical ability under pressure of the centre forward is fundamental to Amorim's ball progression strategy from build-up, as it enables United to go direct and bypass a midfield line, with the centre forward then being able to efficiently get the ball under control and link play, which is exactly what we see Cunha do here from Amad's pass. And once again you can see that with Mbeumo and Bruno as the interior forwards either side of Cunha, Amorim seems to be incorporating more positional fluidity in the front line, with all three players in close proximity in a central area, with Cunha being the one to drop off to receive the ball, which then also drags Michael Keane out of the back line, which has a similar effect to what we saw in the previous clip, with there now being space created on the left side of the Everton defence, and Amad's able to break off of the back of Mykolenko, but also in the centre, another effect of Cunha dragging Keane out of the back line is that the remaining centre-back Tarkowski is now apprehensive about pushing up onto Mbeumo because of the threat of his pace in behind. Also, with greater positional fluidity in United's front three, Mbeumo is able to take up an unorthodox position in close proximity to both Bruno and Cunha, but not high on the shoulder of the last defender looking to break in behind, but actually sitting between the lines in front of the remaining Everton centre-back, putting Tarkowski in a positional dilemma, not quite knowing whether he should be pushing up to Mbeumo or dropping off to cover the space in behind. Another benefit of the front three being positioned in close proximity in the centre is that it opens up the opportunity for these sorts of short passing sequences when Cunha's able to successfully link play and find Bruno Fernandes' feet, with Bruno now being able to complete the progression of the ball in behind Everton's midfield line with a first time left-footed pass into Mbeumo. And even though Mbeumo may have preferred a right-footed pass from Bruno so that he didn't have to hold his run and wait for the ball, and he could have just taken it in his stride and continued his momentum forward, it actually works out, as Mbeumo standing statically entices Mykolenko to apply pressure, leaving Amad free and enabling him to then continue his run into the space created by Cunha's deeper movement. And now, just as before, Amad is released into the final third, this time into a 1v1 with Tarkowski. In this situation, if United had a winger such as Amad in that left wing back role, who would have had the offensive instincts to make a forward movement earlier on in the move, alongside the pace to break ahead of the Everton right back, then this would have offered Amad the opportunity to create a chance, likely with the outside of his left boot, curling the ball around Tarkowski, potentially setting up a goal for United if the wing-back was able to convert first time. Instead, with no other viable options, Amad should be going alone. He's a bit indecisive looking for the pass before eventually winning the penalty, but replaying the situation, I think he probably should be more direct, shaping like he's going to cut inside and shoot with his left foot before feinting the shot, dragging the ball back to go down the outside, setting up a shooting opportunity on his right foot. And so overall, these clips show that the ability of the front three, particularly the centre forward, to control and link play from direct passes from deep is make or break for the success of Amorim's possession strategy, due to United at this point in time struggling to play through the centre of compact pressing shapes. Now, Xerxes can be fairly effective at doing this, even though it would benefit him if those direct passes were going straight into his feet rather than into his chest or head, but even then his lack of pace after he links play is an issue, as it means that United will then have limited numbers when they do progress the attack into the final third, whereas Cunha in comparison has the ability to link play just as, maybe even more effectively in certain situations, from those direct passes from deep, but then he also has the pace to turn quickly and accelerate forward to rejoin the attack. But this is the main reason why I just don't see the point in keeping Højlund even as a backup centre forward, because his presence in the front line reduces the effectiveness of the overall build-up strategy to the point where he's a clear liability to the side. The only reason I can see to keep Højlund is to continue this fan fiction fantasy of him developing into an elite level striker, when in reality it would be better both for his development and United if he was moved on and replaced with a centre forward who was able to link play efficiently in these type of situations. I'm also adamant that United do need a better offensive option at left wing back to start ahead of Dorgu, preferably a winger who can be converted into a wing back, just like Amorim has done with Amad. And so I'm currently working on a video analysing a few under the radar options, and so if you are interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when it does come out. But if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfever.co, use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount. It will be linked in the description and comment section below. And if you do want to sign up to my Patreon to get access to any plot graphs or articles, I'll leave that linked on the end screen now as well.